He's doing squats with 45 kilos. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he does another 3 sets of those.
Hello. Just hope my video can be working. Let's have a look. You give it a couple of seconds. I am here. My video cam seems to be not working at the moment. Let's have a look here. Just give me a couple of seconds. I'm here. Just give me a couple of seconds. Let's see if it comes back up. I've got a black screen, but I am here. Anyway. But let's see. There I am. Hey, check this out. Let's go here. I do want to try something different today. There you go. I have to change my green screen. But anyway, honey, I am home. We're back. Sorry for the delay. I have been extremely busy behind the scenes in regarding to the 2 cold cases here in Australia, which we have been talking about. The Beaumont children that happened in 1966 and the Adelaide abduction of 2 girls that happened in 1973. It's been one of those wild rides where both of these cases had been unsolved. And there's been some shenanigans behind the scenes in some support groups. And we will go through that. And we will discuss that in this episode. But first and foremost, how's everybody been? It's been a few weeks since I've been on this thing. I've been at the gym. If you just saw the 30-second clip, that was yesterday gym sessions. I was lifting 40 kilograms on the bar, doing squats of a repetition set of 4. Plus, I would do other routines as well with other weights as well. There's some I'd go up to 110 kilograms. Some I do 50, some I do 40. It depends what I am doing at the time. And I do my gym sessions in between an hour to an hour and a half. I do 2 at the moment. I am looking at doing 5. We're just working out another program for myself because I just got back from my regular doctor checkup, giving him some updates, and he came back and said, due to my weight loss in the last 10 months, I am a success story. To date, my weight loss from where I was previously to now, I have lost over 23 kilograms in 10 months. And you can work that out in pounds if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. But I've lost a lot of weight. I've still got a lot more to go, but my goal is achievable by the end of the year, which means my end goal is to get between 90 to 100 kilograms. And that is sustainable for my health, for my well-being, and for my positive attitude. And basically what I've been doing the last 10 months is not to get impacted with any form of negativity. If there is any negativity, I just shut it out of my life completely. And that's how I live my life. I encourage people to try it, see how you go. If you want to change and live a better life, if you think you're down in the dumps some way, shape or form, just change a little bit of your lifestyle and you'll see the dividends progress as it goes on. And it had worked for me. I'm not taking any form of vitamins or any form of supplements. I'm doing the old school and the old fashioned way. Just change a little bit of the diet. Still eat the same food, but just in smaller proportions, and lay off the junk, basically. Lay off the junk. But anyway, I've been working behind the scenes also in the 2 cold cases that haven't been solved. And I want to say this, if you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Please subscribe. If you are trying to seek for the truth, seek answers, or just to get a little bit of information for yourself so you can do your own research, hit that thumbs button as well. Give us a like, give us a share it amongst your friends, your family, whoever you shall wish, and keep the discussion going. But first, please subscribe if you haven't done so. It's absolutely free. There's no obligation fee, and come and join Southern Truth family if you shall wish. I'm not twitching your arm. You don't have to subscribe, but it would be nice if you do that, so we can continue to do what we do. But what's been happening behind the scenes? Well, there's been some shenanigans. Last night, there's some breaking news that a South Australian Assistant Police Commissioner mysteriously taken leave. He has worked, he worked in major crime, he's worked in other sections of the police force in South Australia, but for some reason, he's mysteriously taken some leave. Why is that? Well, we will go into that. We will also talk about the shenanigans in the support groups, especially when it comes to the Sainsbury site. People have been trying to get people to go to the site up at Sainsbury to dig down in this sinkhole/well, and there's been some discussions why hasn't anything been done. Where is Andrew Costello? Why is he keeping his mouth shut? Why hasn't he been doing any update? And also the Adelaide Oval abduction that happened, and Bikina, they have taken a little bit of a break. They are going up back to the site, but they need some other equipment. But also there's an update too that they want to do Stansbury. And they think, the investigative team up there think that the Adelaide Oval abduction and the Beaumont children's abduction are indeed connected. Now, I've been battling this as well for several years, and I thought to myself, maybe they are involved. And, well, not involved, but in indeed connected some way, shape, or form. And then I try to keep them separate to 2 different cases. But here in South Australia, we do indeed have a PDF file ring with many players involved, and they're all connected in some way, shape, or form. And we will talk about that in today's show. But let's give our warning first and foremost. Southern Truth is for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumours, gossip, speculation, theory, tied in with a little bit of my sense of humour, comedy, and also we go through what the support groups are currently doing, which is a bunch of complete fucking nonsense, chaos. We're going to go through with this. You're going to see it for yourself. Well, not see it, but you're going to hear it for yourself. All right. Also, everybody that are involved in these 2 cold cases are indeed innocent to proven guilty, even though there are some people that been alleged to be the perpetrators are no longer alive. Everybody do need their due course of action in the court of law, and therefore I am not a lawyer, I am not a judge, and I am not the jury. However, I do have my opinions, and they are only that, they're my opinions. Also, don't take everything I say as gospel. Do your own research and check it out for yourself. Come up with your own conclusions, your own opinions, and your own theory. And also, those opinions of the viewers are their opinions only, and their opinions do not facilitate anything towards your truly's opinion. Everybody has opinions, and opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has one. Therefore, I say it again, do your own research, and let's see if we can come to a conclusive answer of why these children were taken in the first place, and most importantly, we need these children to be brought back to a proper, if foul play has been involved, to a proper burial site, so they can be with their loved ones who also has passed away. Anyway, let's get on to the first bit of news, shall we? Now, the first bit of news that we will talk about is, why did the Assistant Police Commissioner take a mysterious leave? Now, this news broke out last night here in South Australia, Adelaide time last night. We are going to show you a small clip from the Channel 7 News Adelaide, where they broke the news to the public here last night. So just give us a couple of seconds while I will load it up for you guys. And it's going to be eye-opening for some. For some. Especially if you've been following the case as well. So just give us a couple of seconds. Just hold on. Oh, wait there. That's where I've got to go. Just hold on. Here we go. I just got to go here. Just give me a couple of seconds. We will have it. It's just trying to load itself up. Right. Now, South Australian Adelaide News say this is shocking developments. All right. Well, let's find out for ourselves, shall we? Shocking developments. Now, this broke last night. Now, we know that the mainstream media likes to sugarcoat it and trying to make it more of what they say. All right, so let's see what we can do here. Let's see what they can do here. All right. Let's take it away. Light, camera, and action.
First, two shock developments involving one of South Australia's most senior police officers.
Police reporter Hannah Ford has the exclusive details. Hannah, the future of an assistant commissioner is shrouded in mystery.
Well, this is a massive story developing here at police headquarters tonight, with many of our viewers familiar with the officer in question. Assistant Commissioner John Venditto is tonight off duty in mysterious circumstances. 7 News understands he's been off the job since Monday following a meeting with SAPOL's executive leadership team. That meeting led by Deputy Commissioner Linda Williams. I've been told an upset Mr Venditto was seen packing up his things before storming out, and he hasn't been seen since. events. A 40-year-old veteran with the force, John Vendito, was promoted to the role of Assistant Commissioner in 2022. Before that, he'd worked on some of SA's most high-profile cases, including the disappearance of the Beaumont children, the so-called family murders, and the shocking murder of Adelaide pensioner Von McGlynn. To give you an idea of just how senior John Vendito is, only 2 officers sit above him within SAPOL's executive leadership team: Commissioner Grant Stevens and Deputy Commissioner Linda Williams. Mr Vendito is one of 8 assistant commissioners and is responsible for several key branches, including major crime, serious and organised crime, as well as financial and cybercrime. But exactly what has happened after such a long career remains a mystery. 7 News is not accusing John Vendito of any wrongdoing, and will tonight, SAPOL is refusing to comment on this matter.
Well, there you go. Let's get back to you guys. So South Australia police do not want to comment. I wonder why. Now, Southern Truth is not also making any claims of wrongdoing or whatnot, but I will say this. South Australian police force for many, many decades has a bad reputation. Now, I'm not saying John Vendetta is one of them. However, what I will say is South Australian police has a bad reputation that carries on for decades. A lot of people in society don't even trust the South Australian police because of the lies, the cover-up, and that word that we all love to talk, corruption. Okay? Now, as you heard the reporter Hannah Ford, who I met down at Adelaide back in February, March, when they were doing the dig for the missing Beaumont children, she said that Vendito was indeed, in his career, worked on several cases in his career, one being the Beaumont children case, the family murders, which is Von Enham, who is currently serving a life sentence in jail, and there was that pensioner who was tragically killed just a couple of years ago. Right. Now, is the South Australian Police Force doing a shake-up, trying to change their leadership? Possibly. Are they trying to bring in new faces, new fresh faces to the thing? Possibly. I know they're trying to do a recruitment drive to get more people involved inside the police force. They're doing a recruitment drive because, according to their words, there's not enough resources. They need enough. There's not enough reinforcement. They've been trying to recruit police officers from overseas to come and live in South Australia and work for the South Australian Police Force. So is there a change of the way that the South Australian police work in their leadership, in their work methods? Are they reducing the staff, or the staff is underwhelmed with the work in hand? Or is there something out there that could be bigger than what meets the eye? Is there some type of shenanigans that the public and the media hasn't seen? I mean, we're not accusing of any wrongdoing. We can question. Is there something far bigger than what it is? Because when I know personally, and people here in South Australia know personally, South Australia Police Force has got a bad reputation. And it's been going on for several decades. This didn't happen overnight, didn't happen last year, didn't happen 5 years ago. This happened for decades. And in my opinion, when it comes back to the Beaumont children and the Adelaide Oval abduction, and indeed to any form of abuse of children in state care, where there is indeed an 80 years to 90 years suppression order, where it's been locked, sealed, and hidden away from the general public, I truly believe there should be a Royal Commission investigation, an independent Royal Commission. However, it's going to have to be funded by the taxpayers, right, to see if it indeed there is corruption, cover-up involved. Now, the general public has said for many, many decades that is indeed what's been going on and been happening, and that's why some of these cases haven't been solved, or there's been some form of evidence been destroyed, been misplaced. They've turned a blind eye, and there has been some speculation out in the community that some of these police officers are indeed involved in some way, shape, or form in committing a crime. Now, I'm not saying that John Venditto is one of these people that's doing it. But you have to ask the question, well, he's upset. He's been away since Monday. They only just reported to the public last night. So what is he upset about? That he's been found out, or he's going to lose his leadership, or what is it? I think we're going to find out eventually, because what comes out in the wash, you'll find out. If it goes into the rinse cycle, it will eventually come out in the wash cycle. But I'm not accusing John Venditto of any wrongdoing. I'm not saying he did this and this. We don't indeed know what's been going on. But he's upset. He's cleaned his office, taken some stuff since Monday. He's been on leave since Monday. What's been going on? What's been going on? Now, when it comes back to the missing Beaumont children and the Adelaide Oval abduction and the children in state care sexual abuse and so forth, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that those that have been there for decades and they're still currently, they need to be removed. But unfortunately, I'm only a little pebble on a beach. My voice is only this big compared to many thousands here in South Australia and many millions in Australia, and indeed many billions around the world. The last thing we need to see is many more children being taken away, being abused, being tragically caught up in foul play. However, we cannot shy away that this stuff happens. I do not condone any violence to children whatsoever. And if anybody that partakes in any of that form of activity to children, you need a complete drop kick in the fucking head. Children are supposed to be our next generation. And we, as parents, should live the moral high standard of being the role model for our children, not to impact children's life with violence, with all these other stupidity, idiotic things that's currently going on in the world. Because when a children lives in an environment that is not healthy, whatever they surround and live in, it's going to impact them for many years to come. And unfortunately, I'm not saying all, but some children who live in these conditions as a young child, some of them seem to can't break the cycle, and some do indeed become the perpetrator themselves later on in life. But we, as parents, need to set the high moral standards of children to be the role model to protect and to indeed, like the police force, to serve with love, care, compassion, encouragement to children of all ages. We as adults need to show full responsibility in our own actions and to be able to set a standard to our own children, to our grandchildren, to our nieces, nephews, you name it. Because the last thing that we need to see is more children getting taken away and indeed families being destroyed by evil predators that love to harm children. That's that story. With many people know that I was down at the Cast Adelaide site, which is an old factory site down here in North Plympton, which is a few kilometres on the other side of the airport where I am here in Adelaide, back in late February, early March. And I want to show you something. The people that do the private investigation, they brought out this book. You can get this on audio. Apparently the book is not selling on the shelf anymore, but this is on audio. So if you like listening to audio, go to your readable websites and that you can get it and you can listen to the audio format of this book, which is Unmasking the Killer of the Missing Beaumont Children, which is co-written by Stuart Mullins and former major crime detective Bill Hayes. Now, there is an update about this. There's going to be an additional added 2 more chapters coming out in June, maybe August of this year, only on the Audible side. It won't be in the format of the book as of yet. It will be in audio format, right? But that's an update from these two in regards to the missing Beaumont children, and also a passage in one of these chapters, just a small chapter, and I'm going to read it out, right, for the public. I'm not going to read it out of the book. It's just I've got my notes here. I've got my notes here. Right. And it's in chapter 23 of this book. Right? And I'm reading from my notes here. Sorry, guys. Chapter 23 of the Unmasking of the Killer of the Missing Beaumont Children. Chapter 23. And I've got a couple of notes here. All right. Chapter 23 is the title of the Evil Choir. Basically, it says this: you're not a victim of sharing your story. You are a survivor setting the world on fire with truth. And you never know who needs light, your warmth. Now, in this book of chapter 23, on page 262, it states this. It's only a small paragraph that I want to read. And I've done these notes, and Missing Beaumont Children have done this as well. What was once neglected to the realms of gossip about mysterious Adelaide PDF file society surrounded by decades of conspiracy theories, hearsay, and rumour can well hold some truth. As in a room where people unanimously maintain a conspiracy of silence, one word of truth sounds like a pistol shot. For many decades over the years, there's been conspiracy theories, there's been gossip, there's been theories, there's been hearsay, there's been rumour, speculation. Hey, Chisholm. And also, what I'm saying about this Missing Beaumont Children update, there is a massive PDF file ring here in South Australia. And many people will say there's a PDF file all around Australia, with many all around the world as well. It's indeed true. Children go several times a day. There's reports, there's missing children being reported missing every single day. And we're talking into the hundreds, if not into the thousands. Some children just never been found. And the missing Beaumont children been almost 60 years. 3 young children disappeared on the exact same day, at the exact same time, at the exact same place. The question's got to be asked, is there indeed more than one person involved? Well, that's been the theory, that's been the speculation, and that's been the opinions of many people in the general public, that there is indeed more than one person involved, because there's been rumours, there's been speculation that there is a big, massive PDF file ring here in South Australia that's indeed involved with many players, from top businessmen to lawyers to doctors to judges, and you guessed it, the police force. Many people believe that other missing people or missing children cases are all connected here in South Australia because of the major PDF file ring here in South Australia had many different players, and they're all connected in some way, shape or form. They believe that these are all connected some way, shape or form. My question is, are they? We can't just run off speculation. We need concrete evidence and proof that they are indeed all connected, and that they may have to be, if they are still alive, be brought to justice. Now, this is where the shitstorm comes. Hold on tight, buckle up, get your popcorn ready, because what I'm about to share right now, not on screen, just by talking to the audience, what I'm about to share right now, the information that I have gathered and had spoken to several people in behind the scenes in the Adelaide Oval abduction and also the missing Beaumont children. This part of the stuff I'm about will probably make your fucking head spin. And you'll probably say, what the fuck? Okay. For many people that don't know, back in February this year, I was down at Castle Ice site, which is suspected to be one of the places, if not the place, of where the missing Beaumont children were buried back in 1966. Now, for those people that don't know, back in January 26, 1966, 3 young children, Jane, Anna and Grant Beaumont, went down to Glenelg Beach on a stinking hot day here in Australia because it was summer, not too far from their house. A short time later, they were playing in the ocean. They got out of the ocean, went underneath a water fountain, sprinkler we call it here in Australia, and to play around and chase each other. But off to the side, there was another gentleman that was looking at them while they were playing. And he approached the children. The children seemed to be comfortable. Obviously, for some eyewitness report at the time of the disappearance, they said that they believed that this gentleman and the children must have known it, must have been a family relative or friend, because they were comfortable. It wasn't uncommon. They went to continue to play, and then they realized that the money that the mother gave the children to get some lunch and to get the bus ride home was missing. It was in Jane's clip purse, shoulder clip purse. It was missing. And they were panicking. They didn't know how to get home. Their money's gone. And the gentleman went to this two elderly couple that was sitting on a park bench not too far from where they were all playing. Say, has anyone seen our money? Now remember, he stated our money, not the children's money, our money. The elderly couple said, no, we haven't. So they took a walk up to the life-saving change rooms in a northern direction. And they got dressed down and whatnot. And they, next report, they went to Wenzel's Bakery, which is on the corner of Jetty Road and Motley Square. And that was the last known report, so to speak, that was given to the police that the children, the three young children, Jane, Anna, and Grant, went into Wenzel's Bakery to order pies, pasties, and a cake. The person that was with them was nowhere to be seen at the time. And remember, the money went missing. So how do they pay? Well, speculation has it, and the witness said Jane bought the item with a £1 note. Now, back in 1966, we were back in the old British currency, which is the pound and sterling, and not too long after, we changed our currency to what is now known as the Australian dollar. Now, in 1973, the Adelaide Oval abduction, where two young girls were at a local football game between Norwood and North Adelaide, they went missing during the game and never to be seen since. However, many people think that the Beaumont children and the Adelaide Oval abduction are connected. Okay? But they happen 7, 8 years apart from each other. 6 years apart, sorry. 6 years. 6, 7 years apart from each other. However, there's other cases like the family murders here in Adelaide, the Von Enham family murders, and other cold cases here in Adelaide. They're all connected in some way, shape, or form. Now, Carsolo was one of the places where been well documented, well put in books and documentaries of where the three young missing Beaumont children was buried, because 3 days later after the disappearance, two young boys dug a hole for one of the alleged perpetrators named Harry Phipps, who used to own Carsolo, got two young boys to dig a hole and told them to fuck off when they completed, and paid the boys with a £1 note. Now, back in February this year, they've redug the site to see if they can find any remnants of any form of evidence. They indeed did find the hole that the two young boys dug back in 1966, but however, what was ever put inside the hole was removed. According to the forensic archaeologist who was down there, he said in the late 70s, early 80s, something was removed and then the hole got refilled back up with topsoil. Now, if people don't know, Harry Phipps, who used to own the Carsolo site, he raised the ground level an extra 2 meters with topsoil from the previous original ground level. Why did he do that? What was he covering up? Who knows? But whatever was placed inside the hole back in 1966 was, according to the forensic archaeologist, was removed. And then it was refilled back up and put an extra 2 meters of topsoil on top of it to raise the original ground level. But they didn't find the missing Beaumont children. They found animal bones, they found some other artifacts like glass bottles, even a receipt put inside an envelope that was dated back in 1966 that was buried. You name it. However, around that time, a world-prominent media personality named Andrew Costello, who does TV shows here in Adelaide on Channel 7 called South Aussie with Coddy, during the time of the last dig that happened back in late February, early March, he made a statement on his social media that he was going to privately fund another independent dig to help search for the missing Beaumont children up at another location, which is about 2.5 hours north of Adelaide at a place called Stansbury. And many people cheered on social media. Even the media was doing the press conference down at Castlereagh asking the independent member of Parliament, Frank Pangello, what he thought and opinions about it. Now, the South Australian Police keep saying this, and I quote, and I'm paraphrasing. They don't want to get involved because many of these private investigative teams do the type of private digs based on theory, speculations, and rumours without any form of concrete evidence, which then puts a burden on the victim's family. That came from the police commissioner here in South Australia. But however, after approximately now 3 to 4 months since Andrew Costello publicly announced this, there has been quietness from Cozzy. However, it hasn't been so quiet from the Stansbury supporters. Now, let's give a bit of a background story about Stansbury. Well, apparently, if you go back to the missing Beaumont children, there's another couple of people who were mentioned as alleged suspects, so to speak. They're not suspects per se. They haven't been given a arrest or anything, but it's been spoken about, right? And I'll just name a few, right? So there's Harry Fitz, that I just mentioned, Tony Munro, McIntyre, Percy, Von Ennan, Stanley Arthur Hart, Stanley Brown. That's just to name a few. They're the names that's been put out there. Now, another independent journalist and investigator had a interview with McIntyre before he passed away. Now, McIntyre owns the property up at Stansbury. And before he passed away, he basically gave a confession type of interview to this independent journalist. He used to work with Adelaide Advertiser, which is a major newspaper here in Adelaide. And he basically said, I did it. the children are buried down in the sinkhole/well. He also said that they're more than just the Beaumont children. There's other bodies down there as well, like Indigenous people. However, there's other properties that near his that it overlaps where this sinkhole is, which they need to get permission from, because he said he gives them permission to get on his land to go and do it, and find the bloody bodies, you know, but it crosses over to other property. Therefore, you've got to get permission and whatnot. But the supporters say it's on public land. You don't need to get any form of permission. And people are saying, oh, the reason why no one's been up there is because it has to do with the 80-year, 90-year suppression order due to victims of SA to children in water state. The Stansbury site's got sweet fuck all to do with the suppression order. I've heard this from the son of McIntyre, who was, in his words, sexually assaulted and abused by McIntyre's former best friend and associate, Tony Munro, who's still in jail for it. And Andrew McIntyre, who is the son, has came out and said a lot of testimonies over the years that the children are up at the sinkhole. For those people that are in the chat room, if you're talking about other crap and not about this show, can you please do it on another channel? I don't need to hear what goes on in other shit shows, dramas. I'm not involved in it. Don't do it here. I'm not doing it. I'm talking about stuff that's far more superior and far more important than the crap that currently goes and spreads around YouTube. So if you want to continue, show respect. If not, don't let the door kick your ass on the way out. Last warning. Don't bring the shit here. Take the shit back to where it was and talk among yourself in the other shit show storm that you all love to gossip and hate. I don't need help. I don't care if no one listens. I don't care if no one watches it. It's not about how many people watches or not. But I know far too well that you people that are in this chat room are complete fucking moron that love to go around the drama field, right? And I've been around the bush myself many times. And you guys fucking know this too. Yes, I was involved in the drama shit myself, but I stopped. You guys continue to bring your shit here when I'm doing true crime. Bring the shit back to where it came from originally, which is way over the fucking there in your neck of the woods. Don't bring it here. Okay? That's the last time I'm saying this. If you want to continue, don't let the fucking door hit your ass on the way out. Okay? Simple. Let's get back to the fucking program. If you don't want to fucking hang around, well, you don't have to be here. You chose to be here of your own free will. But who runs this fucking channel? Not anymore, they don't. But anyway, let's get back to the show. So this Stansbury stuff. The support group are now trying to bash Hodgie verbally because he's a prominent media personality. And many people in that support group basically had stated that they don't want Aussie to do it because he will get the South Australian police involved. Well, hello. It is known from Aussie he wants to do the right thing. And I said this since day one when he made the public announcement that he wants to fund independently to do the dig to search for the missing Beaumont children, that he wants to do it the lawful way. He also stated that he believed we may not even find anything up there. But let's give it a crack. Let's close the chapter once and for all. However, the support of Stansbury, which mainly has to do with the McIntyre abuse that he went through and his half-sister, RA, or RB, I should say, they don't want Cosy to do it. They want the investigative team that's currently doing Yatna, which is involved with the Adelaide Oval abduction. Now, the private investigative team that's currently doing that has came out with a statement in his own opinion and his belief and his own research. He believes now, or he probably believed for many years, that the Beaumont children's disappearance and the Adelaide Oval abduction are indeed connected. The supporters of the Stansbury site have also stated they do not, under any form necessary, want the South Australian police to be involved any way, shape or form, even if there is a body to be discovered down this sinkhole well, so to speak. Well, how the fuck are you not going to get the South Australian police involved if there's a body indeed down there? It becomes a crime scene. You need the police to be involved. The reason being why that some of these supporters don't want the South Australian police, because they believe all the police officers or anybody who indeed is in the police office, the police force here in South Australia, from top to bottom, left and right, every single one of them is corrupt because there has been, in their mind, cover-ups, evidence being destroyed, evidence goes missing, turns a blind eye, money laundering, keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, the whole 9 yards. The supporters for Stansbury don't want the South Australian police to be involved. You know who they want? They want university forensics to take over if there's a body to be discovered down there. University forensics, not the South Australian police, university. This is from the supporters, not from the private investigative team. This is from the supporters out there. Now, I heard rumours back in March this year that Andrew Costello was told to fuck off by the supporters or by people up at Stansbury. Therefore, there hasn't been any word coming from Cosy himself lately, since he made the public announcement. I've heard rumours that he was told to fuck off. Well, if you go to the support group of Stansbury, some of the supporters up there are basically voicing it. They don't want Cosy to be involved because he's too much involved in the media, and therefore he's got close ties to the South Australian police. Well, hello. If there's a body indeed down this well sinkhole, so to speak, it becomes a crime scene. It gets shut down, becomes a crime scene, and the police takes over it. But we won't know if anything is down there until someone does a dig. We won't know. It's at this present time, in my honest opinion, it's all speculation theory. There hasn't been any concrete evidence that there is indeed someone down this well sinkhole. Simple reason being is no one has dug down there to done an investigation research. Now, when it comes to Andrew McIntyre, who was, in his word, abused by Tony Munro, who was an associate / friend of his father, in Andrew McIntyre's opinion, he saw the children get dismembered and put down this well. He's even said to me, and also in an online testimony, it's on YouTube, right, that there's many other bodies down this well. But he also, Andrew McIntyre, said this to me personally as well, that he helped dismember a child body, and he's also washed the blood away. I'm not saying this is coming from Andrew. He was young at the time. He was a juvenile at the time. Yeah, he could have been under duress. But if he'd done the act himself as well, my question is, shouldn't he be charged for being accessory to the fact, not after the fact, to the fact? He stated publicly that he helped. But he also has stated that he's seen other bodies being put down this well. Now, is that speculation? Is that actually truth? It's his word against everybody else's word, isn't it? It's his word. It's his testimony. The only reason why I'm saying this, there hasn't been any evidence to back up his claim, his testimony, for one simple reason. No one has actually dug down this well to done a research to discover any bodies whatsoever. So therefore, it's still open up in the air. It's opened up a whole bunch of opinions, questions, you name it. But you can't say this to the support group for Stansbury. You can't say this to their faces because they'll shut you down. They'll call you a complete fucking arsehole. All the names under the sun. But I come back with, it will remain a speculation theory due to the fact that no one had done a proper investigation dig in recovering of any type of bodies whatsoever. Therefore, the case remains open. The case still remains a cold case. They can say that the police is corrupt. They can say all the things about the South Australian police covering up and destroying evidence and you name it, knowing full well the reason why nothing has been done. They can say the suppression order all they want, but the main problem is the reason why some of these cold cases are still concurrent here in Adelaide is because these support groups makes it damn fucking hard for the police to do their job properly. Why? Because they don't want the fucking police to be involved. Especially some of these landowners who owns the property don't want the fucking police involved. They don't want the public to be involved, right? And therefore nothing gets done. The police say, all right, this is how you want it. We're not going to fucking do it. Until you get form of concrete evidence, we will go ahead with it. But according to the South Australian Police, everything now is based on no speculation, to their words, speculation and conspiracy theories. Now, that could be true, but it also can be untrue. And this is where I say this. We won't find the answer to anything until there's something indeed do get done up at Stanford. Many people say, Jamie, do you want the Stanford to be done? Of course I do. But I want to do it done in the right way. I don't want some fucking knucklehead to go up there and make a fucking racket for themselves, knowing full well that they can do more damage than good without having the right people involved. And if they don't want the police to be involved in any way, shape, or form, you're not doing the justice for anybody. You may find something, but what happens if you don't find anything? And that's why Cozzy hasn't said anything. Because there's a shitstorm from the supporters group up there. Now, I could be completely wrong that Cozzy might have something going on in the background, but I doubt it. I doubt it. It's because of all the stuff that's currently going on with the support group. They're firing spitballs after spitballs after spitballs. They don't want the police involved. Cozzy, you can fuck off. Your media shrill. You're too tied up with the fucking police and blah, blah, blah. This is why it won't get unsolved, in my opinion. Until something comes out of left field and surprises everybody, then it may get solved. I mean, I'm not giving up hope. I want the children to be fine. I want anybody to be fine. If the story's out there is indeed there's multiple people down this sinkhole, well then, yeah, go out there and fucking look for them. But there's a lot of red tape as well. Yeah? There's a lot of red tape. And what do you do in those situations? When you have a support group that's fucking trying to make a racket for themselves for the wrong reasons, in my opinion, what do you do? That's why I truly believe that shit don't get done because of fucking situations like this. Now, it comes back to this other thing too. Back in February, where the Adelaide dig was at, the local MP, I had a one-on-one 10-minute interview with him, or around about approximately 10-minute interview. And there was some breaking news down there at the time when I gave an interview about there was a story that came out that back in the 80s sometime there was some Indigenous bones down at the Adelaide site that was removed and taken somewhere. Go back to the Stanford thing. When it comes to McIntyre, according to his testimony before he passed away, he also said down at the Stanford sinkhole, there's Indigenous people down there. Now, here's the problem. For many, many decades, well, not decades, I'm going on for, about a decade now, maybe longer. Anything that gets brought up about the missing Beaumont children down here at Adelaide, it gets brought up with Stanford. And therefore they believe that this whole thing with the Beaumonts and the Adelaide Oval abduction and others that haven't been solved in are all connected. Yeah, Indigenous people goes missing, buried. The bones goes missing. Indigenous people down there. And there's a sinkhole, a hole down at Carsolo. There's a hole up at Dansbury. There's this, then it's Dansbury. Then it's this, down at Carsolo, and it's Dansbury. It's like a fucking seesaw. Now, the Adelaide Oval's got like a, they've got wells in that one too. They've got a reservoir, tunnel. You name it. And with some of these evidence that they bring out, they try to say, okay, the Adelaide Oval and the Beaumont children disappearance isn't connected because they believe there's more than one person. It's due to a PDF file ring, many players involved, so forth. I truly believe there's many players involved. But I'm battling to say, are they all connected? Possibly. Because I have a battle with myself. One minute I say they're connected, next minute I try to keep them separate. Where do I stand now? I don't have an answer. I mean, it's possible that they're connected. It's possible. But I don't have any proof that there is. Because it's only speculation, rumor, and theory at the moment. Until they actually go up to Stansbury and actually do a dig, all these questions and speculations that's currently out there, that's all they are at the moment. Speculation, questions, theories. We're never going to find an answer yet until they go to Stansbury. And one way, shape, or form, it will shut up people's mouth. Well, sorry, let me rephrase this. It will shut up the people's mouth of the doubters, but I can guarantee the support group will have a fucking field day. And this is where it comes back onto the South Australian Police. If they do find anybody up at Stansbury, even if it's just one, you can imagine the shitstorm that the South Australian Police will face. You think there's no trust in the South Australian Police now? Can you only imagine what it will be like if they find only one body up at Stansbury? One. Let alone the many other bodies that has been speculated. But can you just imagine? And let's put it out there. And I've stated this on a previous episode. Can you only imagine if only one body was found up at Stansbury in this sinkhole well, what the backlash will be to the South Australian Police Force? And like I said, if you think there's fucking backlash right now and the mistrust of the South Australian Police Force right now, you can only just imagine what it will be like if there's only one body found. Let alone many other bodies. If there's many other bodies, I don't think you'll have a South Australian Police Force. Let alone have a South Australian local state government. Because this place, the worst case scenario, if there's multiple bodies do get discovered up there at Stansbury, the worst case scenario, and God forbid for this to happen, South Australia will be turned upside down. It'll be a complete fucking massive protest, riot, you name it. Now, here's the problem when it comes back to the support group that don't want the South Australian Police involved. Many of them, not all, but many of them, in my opinion, now I don't have proof of this, but I have read their comments in the supporters chat group on social media. In my honest opinion, most of them are anarchists. They want to burn everything down to the ground. How do I know this? Because I had met them at the protest when I was on the streets doing the COVID lockdown protest here in South Australia. I did live stream over 2.5 years with the COVID situation here in Adelaide, South Australia. I had several channels taken down by YouTube, you name it, because of what they call medical misinformation. But I have seen the same people at the lockdown protest here in Adelaide when one of them got close to 10,000 to 30,000 people. Some of these people, if not a large chunk of those people, are in this support group. And I have spoken to them at the COVID lockdown. They wanted to burn the building down, which is a form of anarchist. Burn everything down to the ground. Burn the system down to the ground. That's not how you do it. And some of these supporters in this Stanbury dig are the exact same people. If not, they are the same person who I met at these lockdown protests. They want to burn everything down to the ground, be in the form of an anarchist or anarchist, wherever you are in the world, how you say it. I'll call it anarchist. They want to burn everything down to the ground. Therefore, nothing gets done and you get put into jail for being an arsehole. You're not going to get, well, your message will be heard by your support groups, but it won't get heard from anybody else because they will think that you're a complete fucking arsehole for being a fool of yourself, that you want to burn everything down to the ground and cause more trouble for everybody else. Do you really think burning everything down to the ground is going to solve anything? Now, don't fool yourself, Jamie. No, I'm not. Because I used to say the same thing to myself. Yeah, let's just burn it down. Let's start all over again. But that was naive of myself. I realised, and I matured myself with a lot more of winsome, that that's not the answer anymore. You have to rebuild it from the inside out. Call it out for what it is. And hopefully, other people will follow suit, call it out the rightful way. And those people that are responsible will get held accountable. Unfortunately for some people, some of the top people in the police and government or whatever, they don't get held responsible whatsoever. They get on a nice vacation somewhere, never to be seen again, get another top paid job. That's why a lot of the leaders here in Australia are no longer here. They're not in government anymore. They've got a nice paycheck that put Australia upside down over the COVID period. I'm talking both state and federal. They're no longer serving. Look at the Prime Minister for New Zealand. She's no longer there. Jacinta Ardern. She resigned. She put New Zealand in a complete fucking chaos. Look what happened. Justin Trudeau. He resigned. Look what he done to Canada. I'm not talking about politics here, but those leaders resign. They get paid well, and they get put into another paid well job. They don't get held responsible for their actions. This is what I'm saying. But people that support burning things down to the ground, you ain't solving anything. You're making it worse for yourself. You want to do it? You're a fool. Complete, utter fool. I'm not going to persuade anybody to do things or not to do things. Just be rest assured. What goes around comes around. You want to complete being an anarchist? There's going to be a time that your personal life will come crashing down. That's how reality is. And there has many people, when that comes, many people cry out victim. And where have we seen that before? Many cases around the world. They want to crush, burn things down to the ground. But when they are the ones in their personal life where their life comes crashing down and burning down, and they've lost everything, more to the point, rock bottom, they cry out victim. I'll just leave it as that, because that's where we are right now. Nothing is getting done. I'm not saying things won't get done. Things have just been put on a break to recharge the battery, so to speak. Like Stuart Mullins and Bill Hayes, who's investigating the Beaumont children case. When one door closes, another door opens. And that's where it is. That doesn't mean anything is not being getting done behind the scenes. A lot of stuff are getting done behind the scenes. But right now, we're treading things smoothly and slowly at the moment. Because you just can't just dump your feet into the deep end, because you might get swallowed by sharks. You got to tread water lightly and see how it plays out. And if there's any fruit behind the incoming resources, the information that keeps coming in and keeps coming in, if there's any fruit and any truth that indeed needs to get more eyes involved, if there needs to be a public statement, eventually that will come out. So the question's got to remain, why did this Assistant Police Commissioner here in South Australia take a mysterious leave? Did he do anything wrong? I'm not saying he did. The South Australian Police not saying anything at the moment. So what's going on? Like, share, subscribe, comment. And tomorrow is Mother's Day. Yes, it's Saturday here currently in Australia. It's Saturday. Tomorrow here is Mother's Day. If you've got a mother out there, wish her a happy Mother's Day. Please give her a nice big cuddle kiss. Say that she's the best mum in the world that you can possibly ever have. Cook her breakfast. Take her out for lunch. Cook her dinner if you need to. Take her out somewhere. Enjoy the sunshine if it's sunny. If it's sunny. If it's raining, cook up a meal at home. Do something. Do something nice. And say Happy Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there that are currently there, Happy Mother's Day. You are the best people money can buy. No, money can't buy love. But with the gifts, the best gift ever for them being a mum, for they bringing the children into the world so we can live in their eyes the best image of them. And if you believe in God, you be in the best image of God. We all are created in the image of God, aren't we? That's what the Bible says. Therefore, mothers out there hold a special place in everyone's heart because they're the ones that help bring us to this world. And therefore, we are created and brought into this world. Not only, like, I'm a split image of my mother. You put my mum and me side by side, you would think we're twins. I look completely like my mum. You know, but also I have the image of God too, because the Bible says so. Anyway, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, and we'll be back with another episode of Southern Truth. Take care, like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. We'll see you on the next episode.